Zamp is a truly a white glove sales tax agency that takes care of compliance through and through. My co-founder and I started this business September 2021. We actually launched MoonBrew as NoonBrew, but over time, what we quickly realized is that energy begins the night before, and that people were struggling with sleep, and that's why they needed more energy kind of like products out there. And so, we decided to go all in on MoonBrew January of 2024, and we've now have served over 10 million servings nationwide and helped a lot of people get good sleep. Not fun. So when we were just a younger startup, we relied heavily on third-party bookkeepers to essentially help us, set up our accounts with the states, number one. Number two, also file our sales tax returns. Now, what that created was just a complete nightmare. Number one, all the logins as we would kind of, roll off certain bookkeepers and move on to different firms, they would get lost in the process. And so access became a huge issue for us. I think at one point we had over 30 states where we just didn't have login access to. So that was not fun to deal with. And then what we realized as well, now that we regained access, was that number one, sales taxes were not filed timely under our former bookkeepers. And then also because we didn't have access, we had a bunch of back sales tax due. My co-founder and I, we both did not want to kind of deal with all the paperwork and just, signing up for states and dealing with the compliance over there. And so leveraging our bookkeepers, the biggest kind of headache was essentially you have to keep all your logins and access very clearly written down, stored away somewhere. And then there's also like nuances with different states as well, right? Like I think, for example, Colorado, you have to file with Aurora and Denver and the state. And all these little nuances just became more of a headache. And so that's why we look for more of a white glove service to really just take this over for us and manage it through and through. I would say the bookkeepers were spending anywhere from like 5 to 8 hours each month on it, but that's when we were a younger company. Even when we were regaining access to our accounts, it took me at least like 3 hours a day just to make phone calls. And we're calling states over here, and they're not the most efficient, kind of processes. And we would just spend hours on the phone just trying to regain access to our accounts, understanding which email we use too, right? Like, even though we are officers of the company, states will not give us any information because we weren't the people that registered. And we had to send out power of attorneys and things like that just to regain access. So I would say that initial ramp-up period took a lot of hours. I think we explored all of the different providers out there when we were doing an RFP for sales tax providers. I think the mistake that we went for was that we went for price. Price is usually you pay for what you get. And we ran into an issue where, we needed to essentially get a very clear view of our total liabilities on the sales tax side. With this other firm that we use, the issue came to hey, we don't have access, but we need to understand what our liabilities may look like. And it was just months of back and forth. And so at some point we were just like, look, like this is not going to work because this is not a white glove service as, they described. And that's when we called Zamp and we're like, this is our situation. What can you do to help us? The problem here is that number one, we don't have access to a lot of states. Number two, we need to get a very clear view of our estimated liabilities for our financials. And the Zamp team was able to kind of prepare a estimated view based off of our sales history, their integration with Shopify, and then also slowly regain access to our accounts. We are up to date with our sales tax liabilities. Not confident at all, right? Like I felt like even though we outsourced this to a professional firm, I felt like I was still really deep into it. I was getting involved. I was calling states. I wasn't quite sure how they were calculating our liabilities. I wasn't sure when the last return was filed. And so confidence level was very low for those reasons. And, after we went to Zamp, the liabilities are being taken care of. price is always a big one, right? As a startup, we're very prudent with any of these partnerships that we go into. So price is a big factor of it. And I think the second part was just, I think a lot of firms talk about what white glove service may look like. I think a lot of them overpromise and underdeliver. I think, at the beginning of the relationship with Zamp, I made it very clear to the team, hey, these are the issues that we're looking to resolve. I need a resolution to this. And they got it done. And that's what gave me the utmost confidence in continuing our partnership with Zamp. I think it's been great. The Slack channel is huge for us, right? Anytime we receive any paperwork from the States, all I do is take a picture of it. I send it over, upload it into the Slack channel. I usually get a response in less than 24 hours, and I consider it handled. During the onboarding period, we scheduled a few calls just so we can walk through the states one by one to regain access. And so some states we had, the logins for it. We had to change the logins over. For the states that we didn't, it was still pretty helpful to have the Zamp team there, because pretty much what they would do is send us a list of instructions and be like, can you just call the state, walk them through X, Y, Z, and then regain access this way. And so that's how we were able to expeditiously regain access to all these states we didn't have access to. A few minutes. It's the amount of time I take to snap a picture of the paperwork from the States and send it back to the Zamp Slack channel. So I wouldn't say I spend much time on there at all. I think it's truly a white glove service. I think the response is great. In terms of like anytime I need support, or if there are liabilities prior to Zamp's tenure, they'll still gratefully take care of it, which I'm really happy about. And then I think just customer support, customer service. It's like anytime I have a question, I could just reach out on Slack, and I know someone will get back to me about it. I'll get emails from different states as well, and I'll just forward it directly to the Zamp team. And so, all these little nuances just makes it a breeze to work with Zamp in that manner, versus like having to chase someone down, which I don't want to spend time doing, right? Zamp is truly a white glove sales tax agency that takes care of compliance through and through. I think early on when you're starting the business and you start to reach and cross nexuses, having Zamp sign up for, the state registration makes it a breeze. It's all in a click as well, right? Like I think I get an email every month. You have cross nexus in this state. Would you like us to sign up for it? And I just click approve and that's done. I think what's also really great is that at the end of each month, I get a summary report of all the state sales taxes due, where I approve it. So that allows us to easily have a view on what the cash outflow is for the next following month for us to pay our sales tax liabilities. So that makes it really helpful as well. But it's really about, when you reach scale and what the support may look like. So think in advance, think, 2-3 years down the road, this business is really scaling, and things become more complex. Think about what type of service, your existing firm or whatever firm you're using would offer you, and see how scalable that is. I think we've had some early kind of like misses with other agencies, essentially, when we would just, send them our information, and there were red flags to begin with: slower response times, poor resolution to the problems that we were handling. And I think it's been very clear from day one that the partnership with Zamp is off to a really, really strong start and continues to be a really strong partnership for those reasons.